Welcome back, everybody. This is Unconditional Surrender, published by GMT Games, designed by Salvatore Vasta. This is the me, myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario. I'm Dren608, and last time we had a rather long video for July of 1941. I will probably be splitting this one to keep them to smaller sizes. We will commence with the strategic warfare of August 1941. The Russians are at +2. The Germans are at +1. The Germans do have their submarines marker, but so do the British have the Ultra, so they're going to use it to counter the Ultra. So that's why you don't see me using the counter here. The Germans roll a 2 plus 1 is a 3. The Russians roll 5 plus 2, which is a 7. Basically, that means the Germans lose 1 and the Russians get 1 back. So we'll go to the tracks. Russians move down 1, and the Germans move up 1. We go to the west. I wish I was +4. +3 for the +3 Germans, -0 for the oops, not that one. There's Ultra. There it is. And they're both going to play their things that have the die rolls. So Germans roll a 3, or roll with a +3, sorry. A 3. I predicted it. How about that? 3 plus 3 is a 6, and then it's halved to 3. And then the German, or the Western Allies, roll a 6, which is halved to a 3. That's a diamond, which means they both get back a factory loss marker, which makes the British very happy, because now they are only at 5 lost factories. So they get more production points. Strategic movement, none for the Axis, none for the West. The Soviets did have 1 simply because this aircraft that's sitting right next to these German infantry units, the Germans are just going to run around, isolate it, and make me have to take it off and rebuild it like full turn from now. So rather than do that, I'm going to try and save this one. I'm going to run it all the way to Varenzia, or however that's pronounced, 2655. It would be nice if I took the whole bloody stack. There we go. So that takes care of strategic movement. Operations phase. The standard thing the Germans have to do, second Luft against the airplane in Diplomatic, the third air. Germans are at -2, net, and the Russians are at -4, net. Germans roll a 3, -2 is a 1, which means they'll take a sortie, and the Russians will take a sortie because the best they can get is a 2, and then they do that again, and they both definitely take a sortie. So that takes care of that problem. We'll go check the north and see if the Germans can roll high enough to actually trade 2 for 1. Germans roll 2, so it's going to be the same thing that happened in the south. Germans take 2, the Russians take 2, takes care of the aircraft. So now we can go on to what we need to do as far as trying to take things. I don't see huge breakthroughs here in the north, but I'm going to take the obvious things that I get. The 1st Panzer activates, moves 1 movement point to 1740, attacks Tallinn. They start off at +2 for German, +2 for armor. Tallinn is isolated because it doesn't have any adjacent units or for cities and stuff. So it's +6, -1 for the city. The Russians are at a 0. I'm not going to use my tanks marker here. I might use it somewhere else. I'm more worried about southern breakthrough at this point. Possibly a northern breakthrough. It depends on what the odds are on some of the attacks. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But I definitely want to save 1 for a key battle in the south, like maybe at Diplomatic or something like that. +5 for the Germans. Take that down a little bit. Make this go up a little bit. I keep doing this so I can see my die rolls and keep my cards on the board so we can see what's going on. Okay, that down just a tad. There we go. Die rolls. The Germans are at +5. 4 plus 5 is a 9. The Russians roll a 4. A 9 to a 4, I think, is a DR. So they hold for a turn. Now they'll be -2. The Germans were at 6 movement points for that. Cost them 1 to move up and 3 to attack. It's going to cost them 3 more to attack. So still +5 to -2. I rolled a total of a 6 at -2. The best he can get is a 4, so he will be eliminated. He goes here. National track goes down 1. The Russians take the Hex, which is another 2 willpower, and it is another factory, because Tallinn is a factory, one of the ones the Russians conquered. And the Germans take that Hex. They only have 3 movement points left, so they're just going to go 1, 2, 3 into 1642 and keep the 14th from coming around the lake and messing with me in the south. South of that lake. Doesn't have a name. The lake in Estonia and Russian border. Next up, Germans are going to try and do a little bit of finessing here. They activate the second. Where's my... There it is. It goes 1, 2 to 2241, 3, 4 to 2242, and then 5 to 2243, and then spends 3 to attack the 30th. So they're only at a +1 going into that. The Russians are at a 0. This is one of those dicey things where would you throw in your tanks, blah, 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 blah. I come to the conclusion independently for both of them that it's not worth it. The Germans can't do anything even if they take the Hex because they don't want to leave the Hex they're in. So a +1 to a die roll. Germans rolled a 5 +1 is a 6. The Russians rolled a 5, a 6 to a 5. Nothing happens to the Russians. They stay there. So, yay. Then we activate the 8th Army, and we go through the swamps, 2543, 2544. That's 4 movement points. 5 to 2444, and then we attack the 33rd. And here we will be a net of +3 because we're +2 for German, +2 because he is isolated, and then -1 for the forest. And this is one of those places where I was thinking I might use the tanks marker here because if he gets lucky and blows me up here in 1 turn, his armor could conceivably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 into Smolensk, and then he can drag infantry behind it, and then he's basically compromised my line big time. And it could get very, very unhealthy, let's say, for the Russians. So I'm going to go ahead. This is what I think is a place to use one of the tanks. So I'm going to go ahead and use it here. The Germans, for other reasons, thinking that they want to try and make sure they have a really good breakthrough, like maybe at Dnipropetrovsk or this swamp in front of the Dnieper River. That's where they want to use their tanks marker, so they're not going to be using theirs here. They would not have committed. So, probably should have, but it didn't. So, not -2. They get +2. That's GMT. And the Germans don't have any movement points left. It took all 8 to get there. So the Germans are at +3. 2 + 3 is a 5. The Russians are at +2. 4 + 2 is a 6. 5 to 6, nothing happens. Russian tank marker goes on the turn track real quick. And then that's the end of that activation. I'm going to go ahead and activate the 4th Panzer. It's going to go 1, 2 down the rail, and then 3, 4, 5. So it has 5 movement points left. And it is a +3. Now, I could sacrifice the other tanks marker here to slow these armor unit down. But then I don't have it to use, like, at the city of Dnipropetrovsk, or possibly this clear, other places. I think I have to use it here because I really don't want him to get some kind of a breakthrough into Smolensk or whatever, and trying to avoid losing that city this soon. So I'm actually going to waste my tanks early. Probably a bad idea. But we all make mistakes. I lost a German army in June of 1941, so, what can you say? So that makes them +2. Oh, actually, the Germans are +5 because of the isolation. So there's definitely a reason to use the tanks marker to slow them down. So Germans are +5. 6 + 5 is an 11. They can't get any better than that. And the Russians are at +2. They get an 8. An 11 to an 8 is a retreat, so I barely forced him to lose a step. But what would an 11 to a 6 have been? Just curious. It still would have been a DR. I could have saved my tanks marker, but I didn't know I was going to roll a 6. So get the tanks marker back up on the turns. Now we don't have to worry about Russian tanks anymore. And so that means the Germans have to. The Russians are at -2. The Germans are going to go ahead and spend 3 more. They just need to take this space. +5. A 1 + 5 is a 6. The best Russians can roll is a 4. So it's a foregone conclusion that they will lose the unit. So second unit goes down. There's another will point. And the Germans take the space. They have 2 movement points left, so they're going to move to 2245. Because that's going to set me up for an isolation attack on the 30th. And go ahead and set myself to the infantry movement points. Next up is going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. It's the only single attack there. So I might as well just go ahead. It's going to be 2 attacks either way. So we use the 9th. Where's my initial track? Keep making it go away. I should have spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 armored is 4, 5, 6. This is 7. I started at 28, so I haven't been taking off my willpower. 2 for an armor, 2 for an armor, and then this is my 3rd infantry. 1, 2, 3. So I should be at 21. Keep track of losing. You got to watch me. I forget to take things off on my production point track. This guy goes 1, 2 across the river Duna, then 3, and then 4 to 2043. He will be attacking at +4 because the 30th is isolated. He's not minus anything. That cost me 4 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, +2 to attack. So I'm down to 2 movement points left. And I'm +4 on the die roll, to a straight die roll. 5 + 4 is a 9. And he rolled a 2. I double checked, but yep, that's a DD. I was pretty sure it was. So he is also eliminated because he has no retreat route. He'd flip and have to retreat. He can't. So he goes off, and Russian wills go down another one. I can take the hex. I have 2 movement points left. Oh boy, that's a real thingamabobber there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can capture Smolensk by killing that. Decisions. I think it doesn't matter whether I take the hex. If I don't take the hex, I can move to 1944, which then might set us up. And no, I don't get an isolated on 3. So I'm going to go ahead and take 2044 instead. Okay. Then I'm going to activate the 1st army. Oh, I had it up. I'm just not paying attention. Come on, Germans. Just want to move the German one. I don't want to move everybody's. And then he's just going to go 1, 2 into 1844. He gets to attack at 1843. He's only at a +1 right now. I think I'm going to use the tanks here to try and push that guy out right now. Let's do this. In for a penny, in for a pound. So, German tanks I'm going to go ahead and put on the turn track so I don't forget. Boom, boom, boom. They're +2 for that tanks marker that they use this turn. So +2 to a straight die roll. Germans roll. 3 + 3 is +2 is a 5. And the Russians roll a 4 and thumb their nose at them. The Germans had 3 left, so they'll spend those 3 to try and take just a +1 attack against a die roll. They rolled a grand total of 3. 2 plus a 1 is 3. And the Russians rolled a 5 again and thumb their nose at them and say, no, we're not leaving. We like this hex. So that's annoying. However, the Germans do get to activate the 16th Army, and it's going to go on a road trip. 1 into 2442, and then down the rail line, 3 to 2344. 4 goes into 2345, and then 5, 6 into 2246, and then 7-8 captures Smolensk. So I get one of his advance things here. Oh boy, do I really want to do that? He can attack me with 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. The Russians could. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, I could fill the line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. You know something? They don't have any tanks markers. I'm almost willing to risk a German infantry here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope. We're going to activate the 14th. We're not going to risk a German infantry there. I might not have any retreat routes when he attacks me, but I will have not be isolated. So 1, 2 into 2545. 3 into 2442. So that's 3. Then 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 to 2246. And then the 11th will activate. I should have taken off a will production point there. And then another one for here, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This was my 11th. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Man, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 11, so I should be at 17 because I started at 28. And then he goes 1 in the river across the Duna. 2, 3, 4, 5. And will spend his last 3 to go ahead and attack into Veliluki. I'm at a grand total of a +1. So let's just see if I get lucky. 4 plus 1 is a 5. And he rolled a 2. I got lucky. He gets to retreat. That's a bit of a quandary. I think I want to retreat into 2046 because that still allows me to move wherever I really want to. And the Germans will definitely take it because that's more control markers. That's another, I think that should be 4. That's my 1, 2, 3 cities, which is 6. And 3 armies. It should be down 9. And they started at 65. So yes, they should be at 56. Not too shabby. There's a threat of a hole here. I don't think the Russians can take the chances to try and attack and take back Smolensk. So now we get to move the Hungarians. They go on a... They're still mad about that recipe being stolen by the Russians. They're going deep into Russia here. 2 into the swamp at 2744, 2 more for 2644, and then end the return in 2645. That's a grand total of 7 movement points. They can't do anything else. But that does set up an isolated attack on the 38th. 3rd Panzer will attack. That's 2 more for the Germans. He starts off at +2 for German, +2 for armor, +2 because the guy's isolated, and then -1 for the swamp and -1 for the river. So I'm at a grand total of +4, and I didn't move my airplane. I should have moved my airplane up. Oh well. Let's see if +4s work. That cost me 4 movement points, so I have 6 left. Just straight. +4. Hey, best I can roll. I got a 10. And he rolls a 3. And you double check that, I think. Yep. 3 is a DD. So it's eliminated. It would be flipped, can't retreat. It's eliminated. He loses another willpower for that. Gee, if I take the hex, where do I go? I can go 1, 2 here, which kind of messes him up there. You can't really get me isolated. Or I could just go 1, 2 to 27, 47. I don't know which side. I want the armor on this side of the river. So I'm going to move 1, 2 into 27, 47. I think I want to be on the south side of the Desna, not the north. I'll let him have that little pocket of Bryansk in September. I've got other things to move down here. Oh, that's a quandary of a bit of a hoy. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this dang airplane, since I didn't move it before, up to 3046, even though it takes a sortie to do that. Now I have him available for some nastiness here. I think we're going to go ahead and activate the 17th first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Man, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I should be at 14. So I'm at the right place. He's simply going to go 1, 2 to 28, 48 and attack the 16th, I think. Yeah, we're going to attack the 16th. We're at +2. He's at a straight die roll. I think we'll go ahead and take that first die roll. That was 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 movement points left. +2. 4 + 2 is a 6. And he rolled a 2, so that's a DR. Not knowing exactly where he's going to go, I think I'm going to go ahead and treat 2750. The Germans choose not to. Take the hex. Let's see, I'd have 4 movement points left. I only have 2. If I move 1 to here, I still wouldn't have enough. So I can just chase him away, or I can try and set myself up. I think I'm going to move to 2949. I'm going to end my activation. Rather than chasing the guy that I just moved, I really just wanted to get by him, because now I'm setting up an isolated attack on the 23rd, which is what I think I really want to do. Right? Do I have this right? Yes. Yes, I have an isolated attack with the 15th Army. Another production point, kids. Come on, pay attention. The 15th Army can go 1, 2, 3 to 3148. And that lets him get an isolated attack, so he's +3. So that's 5, so I have 3 left. +3 to die roll. 2 + 3 is a 5. They rolled a 4, so they held their ground. Spend 2 more. It's +3 again. So now I get an 8. And he gets a 2. An 8 to a 2. Oh, it's actually a DD, so I actually knock him out. There's my 5th Army. I'm on a pace to kill 5 armies every turn. Maybe I can get more this turn. I still have one movement point left. When I go here, 1, 2, 3, 4. What do I want to do with this? I don't know that I want to take the hex. I think I want to move to 2149 because I'm kind of messing with Nostric. Yeah, I think so. Okay, that's where I'll go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't get behind him. I think I'm going to try this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Trying to figure out a way to get to Depth Nostric. I think I have to do it this way. I have to move the 10th first. Trying to finesse myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll go ahead and take a pot shot at +1 on Depth Nostric. Just to see if I get lucky. 2 + 1 is a 3. He rolls a 6 and laughs in my face. Who needs any stinking tanks? I should have thrown my aircraft in there. Oh well. Let's activate the 2nd Panzer. That's 2 more. So it puts me down to 10. 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 to attack the 37th. I'm a net of +3. I'm going to go ahead and throw in my aircraft here, since I forgot the last time. That'll make me +5 to his die roll. And I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 movement points left. +5. 4 + 5 is a 9. Oh, he rolled a 1. Thank you, Russia. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you that don't know, a 9 and a 1, that's the one die roll on a 9 that actually eliminates the unit. So I actually got 6 armies this turn. Hey, I'm doing better. That's not good for the Russians, obviously. The Germans are not going to take that hex. Or can't. Oh, it doesn't matter. They have to use a movement point either way. So it doesn't matter if they take the hex or not. They only have 5 movement points left, so they have to move here to 3249 from either one of those places. It's still 1 movement point. And they only have 3 movement points left, so they have to hope that they roll really well against the Depth Nostric. And at this point, I'm going to throw in my aircraft as well. So let's count this up. The Germans are +2 for German, +2 for armor, +2 for isolation, +2 for aircraft, and then -1. So they are at a +7. So let's see if this works. +7. 5 + 7 is a 12. The Russians roll a 5. Combat results table, 12 to a 5. I just barely got them. That's a DD result. So I did really well. These guys go to the eliminated box. They lose another willpower for that. This aircraft has to fly away. It's going to fly to Rostov. If I can pick up the whole stack. The Panzer will take it, and then they will use their last movement point to go across the river so that they're on the other side. Get a control marker in here, and then I have to take off 2 more will. So the Russians have lost. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we're going to activate the Romanians. We're going to move the 4th, risk them. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2 across the Dniester. 3, 4, 5 to where the 18th is. 6, 7. Oh, no, they're not going to activate that one. They're going to activate the guy in Odessa. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 34-49. Maybe the Russians will come out and play. Who knows? I'm trying to avoid having to move this 18th Army because I want to rebuild the one that I had dead, and I still want to do all 3 of my airplanes. So that's why I'm doing that way. Looks like in September I'm going to run into some trouble with the Russian air is going to be active in the south, and I'm not going to be able to do much to stop it, which is kind of disconcerting, but there's not a lot I can do about that. The Russians might be able to contrive some kind of bizarre attack that might do some damage to me, but I can't really see it. So I'm not going to activate that one. I want to rebuild that one unit that I have sitting there. Or do I care? I don't think I care. I don't need the unit right now. We're going to go ahead and spend this. No, not the Italians, not the Italians. Don't want to move the Italians. Stop it. Not done doing it with the Italians. So the 18th can move. So that would probably change what I do with the Romanians. Romanians instead will move up to Diagnostic. And I'll move the 18th to 35, 50, and the third. Oh, come on, machine. The third will not be the one that gets activated. It'll be the fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now go into 3250. There. Now I've got it straight. Takes me a little while to figure out how to move that. Okay. The Germans are not going to supply the guy in Finland or the airplane because I don't want to mess with the convoy running up sorties at this point. There'll be time enough when I absolutely have to do it. We need to go to down into the med. The Italians are going to go ahead and activate a unit. Their 11th Armor. They're going to attack the 9th. That costs them 1, 2, 3, so they have 5 left. It'll cost them 3 to come across. They're definitely going to throw in their tanks. The British are going to go just throw in their aircraft, and that will make us both at +1. The Italians are +2 for the tanks, -1 for attacking across the ridge, and the British start off at a net of -1 because they're British, but -2 because of garrison, and British is +1. Net of -1, and airplane makes them +1 as well. So basically a straight up die roll, but +1 to each. Italians, 5 + 1 is a 6. British, 3 + 1 is a 4. 6 to 4 is a retreat. Hey, they got them to retreat. Yay. Dodgy Willikers, do I want to keep advancing? I'm not going to use the Germans North Africa because I have to reset my stuff. That was really a pointless attack, you know that? Okay, well, you'll learn. There. Okay. Because I didn't have the points to use the Africa Corps to do anything. Oh well. Supply. The interesting supply is down here for the Italians. They're going to play a little bit different game here. They're going to take 3 on this one. They will supply this guy and their 2 frontline units. Benghazi and Tripoli will go to Tripoli for supply, and Tobruk will officially become out of supply and get a marker. And that's to help me try and get my fleets back so I can actually fight the dang British for supply. It's annoying as heck. So, that's the Axis operations phase. I'm going to stop here, check my time. probably this will be the end of this video, and we'll have part 2 to do the other side. So I'll check back to you in just a second. Okay, I checked. I'm right around 35 minutes here at the end of the Axis operations phase. So I will pick this up in a part 2, kind of like I did in June of 1941, and I probably will do that for the rest of Barbarossa. It just takes me a while to click through all the units. So we will come back with the Western's response to Barbarossa, as well as the Soviet attempt to set up their defense line to hold until September, when things start to get better for them, they hope, at least with the October weather. This has been the first half of August 1941. We'll be back to look at the Western response on the next episode, which will be this one continued. This is Dren608. Bye-bye. I'll see you soon.